Hi boys and girls, welcome to reading. Today in reading we are going to find out some interesting facts about phones, and then we are going to look at the letter E and the different sounds that it makes. So we are on page 90 of our My View book, page 90, and we are going to read about telephones. Let's read. This is how phones have changed over the years, and this says changing phones. Inventions change our lives. New phones make it easier to communicate. So here's the past. That label says past. This is one of the first phones. There were no numbers. Wow, can you believe that? Operators helped people make phone calls. So way back in the past, you see this phone right here. This is a kind of what phones look like. You would pick up the handle and you would talk right in here, and this would go in your ear, and then an operator there would pick up, and you would tell the operator, could you connect me to this person? And he or she would connect the lines, if you see there on the side, connect the phone line to someone else. So a person had to connect you. Isn't that amazing? That's how phone calls used to be made. Now, what games could you play on here? What apps? No apps, no games. There's not even a screen. There's not even anywhere to dial numbers. They had to do it for you, and there's no games you could play at all. So phones are a little bit more boring, you could say, than now. Our phones are really cool now, all the different things they could do, but they really appreciated even just having a phone. And as we see an illustration up here, phones begin to change, and they begin to have numbers so that you, if you were living way back then, could call someone, and you wouldn't depend on an operator to do that. Okay, now the next page, or just the other side. How has communication changed over time? This is a phone today, right there. What's that? That's like an iPhone, right? People make calls on smartphones. People do other things on their phones too. So we see the oldest phone on the other page, and then a little bit newer, we see that green one with the numbers, and then we have a phone here in the house. This is a cordless phone, and then today, a smartphone. What questions do you have about phones? What questions do you have about phones? Well, if you could ask somebody that makes phones, what would you ask? I would say, well, how does the screen work? And how does it work so fast? And how does it communicate so easily? So phones have totally changed over the years. All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and turn to page 92. And we're going to look at the letter E. I'm going to write the uppercase E and the lowercase e right there. All right. So we're going to look, first of all, at the sound, the E sound that we know, which is a short E. It goes eh, eh, eh. Okay? So we have here a bed. We circle that. What other items on the top row here have that sound? Okay? Let's see. How about mop? Do you hear the E sound in the middle? Mop. No, I hear the O sound. Don't circle it. How about this? This is, you could say it's a plane, but it's also a jet. J, et, j, et. You hear the E sound? Eh, eh, eh. I do too. Circle it. Right here is what? A spider web. That's a web. Let's split the sounds apart. Woo, eh, b. Woo, eh, b. I hear the eh, E sound. Circle it. All right, boys and girls. Now, this is pointing to that bead right there, which is red. Let's hear the sounds in the middle, the sound in the middle, and as we split the sounds apart. R, ed, r, ed. You hear the E sound? I do too. Okay, now, this is a queen. Do you hear the short E sound? Queen. Now, I hear an E sound, but it's not a short E sound. We're about to get to that. So we're going to leave that one alone. That is not the short E sound, the eh sound. It's a queen. Queen, that's a long E sound. So we're going to leave that one alone. We go to the next one. Now this is a cat. Okay? So listen to the sound in the middle. K, at. K, at. I hear an A sound, not an E sound. And then this is another one. This is a wheel. Ooh, eel. Ooh, eel. Is it the eh sound? No, it's an E sound. And again, that is a long E sound that we're going to talk about here in a minute. Okay? So we're not circling that. We're looking just for the short E sound, like in bed. So don't circle that one either. All right. Now let's go ahead and go to the other side on page 93. Okay, now here's what we're going to talk about. The fact that E, just like U and O that we've been talking about, has two sounds. Again, you're getting older and you're learning more, you're getting even smarter, and you can handle this information because you're almost first graders. So E has the sound that we know, which is a short E sound, eh, and also the sound that sounds just like you're saying the letter E. Eh and E. Okay? And let me go ahead and write the letters here. So you hear that long E sound many times when there's an E and then another letter and then an E again. We'll take a look at that. Let's go ahead and trace the first name here. This is Jen. Is that short E or long E? J-N. J-N. That's the short E sound. That's the one, again, that we've already learned. Like an egg. Okay? Let's take a look at the next one. This is Eve. Trace the letters in Eve's name. Let's do it right on the lines. That's helping us to remember to go to the top and then middle and the bottom line as it shows us. Now, is that the short E or the long E sound? Eve. That is the long E sound. It's the E sound. You hear it? Eve. Okay, so as we see, there is an uppercase E and then a V and then an E again. Okay, so that is showing us that many times when you put a letter in between two E's, it creates that long E sound. Look at this one. Pete. Okay, go ahead and trace. And there it is again. E, another letter, consonant, another E. Pete. It's not pet. No, it's Pete. E. Good. Now the last one. Let's trace that E. Just right there. Perfect. And then Ted. Is that short E? Is it eh or long E? E. It's T-ed. I hear the short E sound. Very good. So we are learning about the short and long E. Let's turn the page. Now, we're going to go ahead and write some words here, and then we're going to talk about whether or not it has a short E or long E sound. There are 3 words up here, and we're going to write them on the lines where they should go. This first one, what does that say? W-e-b. W-e-b. That's web. The next one, I see the E, another E, and a letter in between. So that is the long E sound. So let's say Steve. Steve. Good. Then I see a E right in the middle. And so I know that's going to be a short E sound. J-et. J-et. All right. So let's go ahead and write the words down on the lines next to the picture that it shows at the beginning of the line. So the first one, we see it traced. Follow that perfectly. That is helping us to write just as we should. Good, good. Very good. Pause it if you need to if I'm going too fast. Now, what word is that? We just read it at the end. That is j-et. J-et. That's jet. There's the jet right there, right? Good. Okay, so here's the next one. What is that? Is that a web? Yeah, that's a web. That's a spider web. What word? Let me go ahead and cross out jet since we've used it. What word is web? Is this web or is this web? Web. That's it. So now let's write it right here. I'm going to go ahead and cross it out. Let's write it. Now we start at the midline. We're doing a lowercase w to the bottom line, back to the midline, back to the bottom line, and then back to the midline. Web. Now the E, we start about halfway between the midline and the bottom line. Some people try to put this part up here on the midline. That is too tall of a letter. So E goes right there. And then the B, we start at the top line all the way down to the bottom line. But then that bubble part starts right about the midline and around. Web. Very good. Last one must be Steve for that boy, right? Cross it out. Now this is an uppercase letter. Why? Because that's the name of someone. The name we always do uppercase. Okay, so Steve. Uppercase S, we're going to go way up here. About between the top line and the midline. Make that turn on the midline. Back to the bottom line and up. Good. And then the T, we go from the top line down to the bottom line. And then we go across the midline. And then for the E, we go right about here and around, and then back to the bottom line. And then for the V, we start at the midline, down to the bottom line, back up to the midline, and then finally for the last E, right in between the midline and the bottom line, around to the midline, back to the bottom line. There's Steve. Boys and girls, you have learned so much today. You've learned the two different sounds of E, short E and long E, and I thank you for working so hard with